Should we start?
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello. A lot's changed since the last episode.
Big news.
Yeah, big news. It's 10 minutes later.
We go a complete opposite route. We're like gay hedonists.
Now diving into the Bible, Satan's Bible.
I kind of already am, but
Yeah.
that would be a big change for you.
That would be a bigger change for me. Yeah, that's true.
Okay, welcome to another installment of
Call him Father. The deity.
I'm Grant Moore.
Josh Creedon. We didn't do that last time.
Yeah, we didn't do that
Josh
last time.
Creedon. We can just slice those.
I'll do AI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Grant, Josh.
Grant and Josh, and we're here to two comedians that are going to kind of semi-read the Bible and talk about it.
We're really breezing through it,
We're
frankly.
breezing through it.
Yeah, it's pretty quick.
But it's more than you would have looked into it otherwise.
1,000. Yeah, what?
So
yeah, 2 words.
Shut up and
You
stop
heathens.
judging us.
Yeah, you've never cracked a Bible in your life, you dumb. Oh,
I'm
wow.
at least opening it.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Okay, so last time we talked about we covered the big ones, I feel like, which is Cain and Abel
and Noah.
and Noah.
Mm-hmm.
And now it gets into, you know what it is? I think this is when people stop reading. Where we'll get to now. I think that's where most people are like, I don't know.
Yeah, they're like, worldwide flat.
Yeah.
Because
So
that's the thing. Noah doesn't give really any, like Cain and Abel, there's like a lesson you could learn there. Adam and Eve, there's a lesson you could learn there, you know? But like Noah, it's like, I got to build a boat and like, what do I take?
kind of just
from
gets
that?
directions.
Right. So this kind of dives into what we talked about 2 episodes ago when you were like looking at scripture and you were like, so what do I do now?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, well, maybe it's not about what do you do now, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe it's just information about how we operate as people.
Sure.
And so I think a lot of people come to the Bible with, well, just tell me what to do.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do for good? And Noah doesn't really offer a lot of that.
Yeah.
Except for maybe
I guess listen and abide.
Yeah, listen to the Lord despite how insane his plans might be for you.
That's where it gets a little spooky. You know?
Yeah, but that's spooky if it's bad.
It gets spooky if it's bad, but it's like there's a lot of people who thought God was talking to them, and they didn't build a big boat and save humanity. They stabbed a bunch of nurses.
Oh, yeah. Well, listen.
I mean,
if you knew those nurses, those nurses were not good.
They were not good nurses.
They're trying to keep them down.
They had bad bedside manner.
Right. Exactly. Take your pills.
I guess we had to do the rating again.
I mean, let's just be transparent. I mean, we don't want to.
We're recording it back to back.
Yeah, back to back. So
because we don't want to
refer to the last. We're trying to bank episodes.
We're trying to bank episodes so that because when we inevitably get lazy about this, we'll have some
or the holidays or whatever.
Yeah, sure.
So I'll be gone for Thanksgiving and whatever
the pagan holidays.
Yeah, that we celebrate more. So I mean. Okay, I mean, we're fine to check in, though. Has anything changed in the last episode? Are you more religious or spiritual since?
I feel like we connected. We had a good conversation. That always bumps up my spirituality. I'm going to say I'm a 7 because I feel better. I was angry when coming into the last episode. Now I feel better because I feel like we talked about it. There were parts that I was like, I'm not into this. And we agreed and disagreed. It was nice. It was a nice exchange.
Right.
In terms of religiosity, still, OT does not have me feeling some type of way. I'm still, but I am going to church, and I am telling people I go to church. So I'm calling that a 3.
Powerful. Nice.
Grant's at a 7.3.
7.3, and I think I was at a 6.8.
Yeah.
So taller. No, you're taller than me. 7.3.
So stupid.
I'm 6'8". I'm a 6'8". Overall, my aggregate is higher. Not bragging.
Right.
But yeah, so I'm probably still a 6 in terms of spirituality, and 8 in terms of religion. Still staunchly Christian.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the goal of this is really to bring down his numbers and bring up mine.
If we can reach an average of a 5.555, that'd really be beautiful.
No, I'm trying to be a 10.10.
Oh,
and
what?
You
0.0.
0.0.
Actually, God is dead, and religion is the opiate of the masses. Just
and then
really
me
flip
floating
right
off of the couch. Yeah, and just tripping on DMT. So, and then a little review last time. Obviously, we said we did flood, Cain and Abel, big ones, and now the boat has landed. The animals are off. Noah has offered up some clean dead animals cut in half to the big man upstairs.
The covenant.
and the covenant, and not a good voice to do anymore.
Well, that's the problem. Is it is still
It's
a good
still a
voice
good
to
voice.
do. It's a good voice,
But it is not a.
if we could divorce it from
We could separate the art from the artist.
from the voice from the voicist.
Dude, Jeffrey Keller, as a little side note, was talking about like, and I wanted to make this a bit, but it was his idea. But he was like talking about how you need to separate the art from the artist as a comedian, not because you need to like appreciate like Louis, but then admonish what he did when he jerked off.
Sure.
But like, you're friends with comedians who are bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need to separate the bad art from the good hang.
Yeah, exactly. You got to be like, hey, man, you suck, but I love you.
He's so bad on stage, but man, he's a nice guy.
I struggle with that.
Yeah, that is tough.
Agree. Yeah.
So that's just a
Side note.
But okay, so now we're diving into what happens after the flood. Noah gets this promise of the promised land, and he restarts living his life on the earth, and he gets drunk
Immediately.
He immediately
gets drunk.
Which who doesn't? You save humanity. You can't have a little reward.
Can't chill? Come on.
but
Let him chill.
He just blacks out by himself.
Yeah.
Which is a cool move. I can personally attest
Dude, his
to.
drinking buddies are all dead. They all
That's
just
true.
died, and he's just like sad, probably.
Yeah,
You know, and
he's just yelling at like bugs and
hey.
remember the boat? Yeah, I remember the boat. It was a day ago.
Also, imagine he couldn't drink for like however long he's on the boat.
Why not?
What alcohol does he have on there? Do you think he bottled it back then? What is wrong with you?
Well, what does he have now?
Well, he said he grew a vineyard. He said they planted grapes and he made it.
Okay, sure. Okay, you're right. They do say exactly that.
Yeah.
Okay, so then he gets drunk, and basically his son walks in on him being naked and passed out on the floor.
Yeah.
Which is his fault, might I add.
Which is?
Noah's fault.
Sure, yeah.
For getting drunk and naked.
Yeah.
And then his son tells the other sons, hey, dad fucking blacked out. And you can see his ass.
Cashed in there.
And his brothers, instead of making fun of him, I guess like the initial son, decide to walk backwards with a duvet cover.
Yeah.
And put it over him.
It was a weighted blanket.
So they don't see his nakedness but cover it up.
Right.
And then when
Very
Noah wakes up out of his drunken stupor, like any alcoholic father, instead of going, what is wrong with me? Screams at the son who tattled on him,
Right.
curses him forever, and rewards the sons who...
Shem and
Japheth. Who's the son that did the bad?
Ham.
Son of Ham. Isn't there like a racial aspect to the son of Ham?
So it's actually all three of them have a racial aspect. Shem, Ham, Japheth are said to be the fathers of three different races of people. I forget where they split. This actually might be worth looking up on my phone right now. I'm sorry. But yeah, they were. I mean, yeah, I can keep talking, but. Yeah, they were said to be like the fathers of like Europe, Eurasia, Africa. I forget the split.
Ham is Africa.
Now. Perhaps.
I think I just remember like there's like glimmers of like racist stuff, and like them calling black people them is never a good thing to say. Calling black people sons of Ham was a like used during slavery times.
Right. Shem, Ham, Japheth, descendants. I'll type that in.
Okay, I'm just going to cut this out.
This might be worth having a... Oh, here we go. Okay, so from Shem came the Semitic peoples, like Jews and Arabs. That's what it says here on Google Images. You're
just looking at pictures.
Just looking at a picture of the diagram.
You are actually looking at
yeah, and then Japheth, the polytheists, world system, like Europe, Russia, Iran, Iraq.
Polytheists, so multiple gods he believed in.
Well, so Japheth's descendants became polytheists.
Okay.
Shem's Japheth became monotheists. Those were the two that backed in and didn't look at Noah's nakedness, and then Ham, that pervert, was looking at Babylon, Egypt, North Africa, Jordan, those places. So more African focused is the Ham folks.
Okay.
And then Shem is like Middle East, and then Japheth is more Europe.
Okay. And that is used, I think, later on
Derogatorily
to justify racism. Is like you're the son of they're sons of Ham.
Good
they're
point.
This cursed. No, not a good point.
Not
just a historical fact that
I haven't thought about that before.
Loosely based in my head.
Okay, I'll consider it.
But I don't know enough about that to talk about it too much. But I'm just saying I'd heard that before.
This is really what this is. Both of us being like, we don't know too much about this, but but it's cool.
Why would you listen to something like that? But
isn't that? I think we're relatable.
Yeah,
right. I think we're relatable. We're like, what the hell is that about? Anyways,
so look into that and don't listen to us. But so anyway, when this kind of made me think about God a little bit of the book. The whole thing is making me think about God a little bit. But
this whole Bible thing,
yeah,
God's word is making you think about God.
Yeah,
cut it out.
No,
Come on.
it seems to me like a little version of like God creating man and then being like, I screwed up on this one, or I'm sorry or whatever, wiping them all out, because in this Noah is like God. He created these boys, right? And then he fucks up a little bit. He gets drunk.
Okay.
And then he comes out of it, and instead of being like, oh, what did I do? He just blames them.
Sure.
And that's what this is what religion feels like a lot of the time. Is a guy who made us fucking us up and then blaming us.
Right.
That's
a very concise way of putting it. I mean, I obviously disagree completely, but
I would hope.
Yeah.
Imagine if you agreed and you're like, yeah, but you gotta.
Good point. It was like, wow. It's scary when Grant gets what he wants and I become an atheist. Like, oh no. Yeah, I mean, I get that. I think I would say Noah messing up and then blaming his son. Also, yeah, I mean, there's so much culture steeped in this. Sure. It's an understanding of like looking at your father's nakedness. Who knows what the hell that means back then? Yeah. What a terrible thing that would be. Also, him just seeing it and then going out to his brothers being like, Dad's naked in that. Like, that's
that's so fun.
Right. But I'm sure back then that's like bringing shame on your father. You know?
But your father's the one who fucking screwed up.
Sure. But what do you do when your friend screws up? You don't make fun of them. See, but that's
we make fun of them.
Well, yeah, but it's different because we're doing it in love. Back then, I think culturally, you don't make fun of people being, especially your dad being KO'd. Yeah. Like, I don't think that's something you know.
That's true.
Like, I think that's, especially if he's naked, I think that's something you would probably try and, rectify in some way. Not saying that Noah did nothing wrong. He did, right? And then Ham just made it worse instead of Shem and Japheth, who covered it up and tried to rectify the situation a little bit. Again, there's so much culture that could be steeped in that we don't understand. So Noah messed up. I would say God did not mess up. And this is something Grant and I've talked about, is having a review portion at the beginning of an episode about the previous episode. If there's anything, assuming we don't do back-to-backs.
Which we would never do.
Which we would never do except for right now.
We've already admitted to.
But like, so in this next week interim, I'm probably going to look up like, and God was sorry that he created them with the whole Noah thing. Yeah. I'm going to listen to, I'm sure, multiple sermons on that.
Yeah. And I'm not going to do anything.
That's fine. He might, but I'm going to do that.
I'm going to look into this ham business.
Next Sunday, how do I justify my racism? Yeah.
For God.
And so I think I'm probably going to look at that, and then I'm going to take back next week when we record and probably do a deeper dive into what that means, that God was sorry that he created them to distinguish.
Yeah. Next week or in an hour when we do a third one.
Right. Yeah.
There is a note in the ESV for...
Study Bible. Big old Bible.
For verses 9:21 through 9:23. The first part talks about him becoming drunk, which... is not why I brought this up, but then it says Ham's actions, however, are the object of serious criticism because Ham unashamedly looks on the nakedness of his father in the tent, then reports this to his brothers. There is no indication, however, that perverse sexual behavior was involved in addition to Ham seeing his father drunk and naked.
He raped his dad. What
See,
the
I'm
hell?
like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Is that a thing among scholars that
Here's
that's like
the thing,
a potential?
Right? Well, back then, just talk about the genealogy stuff. I'm sure you all remember last episode when they were saying Adam knew his wife, right? Yeah. So that's saying knowing. That's a euphemism for sex and jizzing inside of.
Sure.
And so they're saying he saw his father. These are soft terms. Sure, who knows what the hell? Maybe he like diddled his dad or something. He jerked off.
In that case, drunk or not, I'd be pretty busted up about if I was the dad.
1,000%. Be like, well, my son just raped me. That's oh my gosh.
Yeah,
that's a tough one to come back from.
Yeah, I would curse him.
Yeah, I'd curse him. Yo,
I would say, stop.
What the hell? That's crazy. And then also I'd be like, thank goodness I was blackout. That's crazy. That's crazy.
I like that's just a thought instead of a memory.
Who is this man coming? My son? Oh my gosh.
That's no good.
That's a crazy amount. Listen, perversion is nuts back then.
Yeah, that's true.
Rape's bad under any circumstance. Gay rape, even worse.
Come on.
Incestuous gay rape. I mean that's
naughty.
No good.
Though the text does not explicitly state what happened, it is clear that Ham humiliated and dishonors his father, and that he apparently sought to make his brothers a party to that humiliation.
Let's go rape dad. He's asleep.
I mean, yeah, that's unpleasant for him, but in terms of bonding activities,
dude, those kids are bonded for life.
What is thicker than blood?
Cum.
Yes,
especially your brothers cum on your dad's
brothers.
back.
Isn't that a Mark Wahlberg movie? Brothers cum.
Yeah, I love those stories written by the brothers cum.
Brothers cum. So it's hard to come back from this. He
step back into the word.
He curses. Blessed be the Lord, the God of Shem, and let Canaan be his servant.
Canaan.
I mean,
you could say Canaan. Whatever. But
may God enlarge Japheth and let him dwell in the tents of Shem, and let Canaan be his servant. Wait. So Canaan, a servant of servants, shall be to his brother. So wait, is Canaan Ham the father of Canaan?
Yes.
Oh, so he's cursing Ham's kids right now.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Ham's kids are going to eat
it. As punishment for Ham seeing him and potentially
violating him,
putting stuff in him,
right?
The father curses him and says, "You're going to be the servant." So this is where the slavery thing comes into. And again, we're not going to go too deep. into this,
interesting. Yeah,
the servants thing and the sons of Ham. These are where people start using the Bible to do really nasty things, and this is where people they use it to say, "Hey, this is not a thing we should follow. This religion is bad because it's used to justify things that are bad."
Sure. So that's interesting. I mean, that's more of a.
I'm just saying it begins here. It starts this early.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that's interesting because one, it's like, okay, those cursed back then, that seems very much to those people at that time. Even then, I don't think that's a justification. I don't think Shem and Japheth then are like, yo, your kids are our slaves now. I don't think even that's their reaction. I would just say there will be troubles in their life. I don't think it's on me to bring the troubles to their life. You know what I mean? So it's an interesting way to interpret that. I mean, this is such a backwards thing. Someone just was like, oh, we want slaves. And then they found this. And then they're like, let's do that. Someone didn't see this and then was like, I guess we have to make slaves.
To make all the African people slaves.
I guess I have to make them my slave. I think it was very much we have slaves, and this is how we justify that.
I believe that as well. But I'm just saying, if you're gonna look at this the way, you have to respect the fact that this book's been used to do bad things.
Oh, of course, sure.
Right. And so here's our first example of how, off of a loose historical understanding that I have, but compelling.
Yeah.
Loose but compelling is my middle name. It's a long one, a lot of hyphens. But yeah, this is an example of that.
Sure,
And
absolutely.
So I just want to put that in there.
Yeah.
But okay, so he's blessing Japheth, one of the dumbest names. So Japheth and Shem are they're gonna hang out together and have fun, and then their servants, that's gonna be the sons and daughters of Ham.
Sure. And I think back then also, I mean, and you read this in the early genealogies as well. We didn't go over it too much, but like, oh, there's this son and they created a city. And then there's this son and they created a city. So it seemed to be like a precedent where it's like, yeah, we're going to start towns and cities, like just ourselves. You know what I mean? So it's like this idea of, it's like, it's not like your kids are going to directly be but there's going to be conflict between people groups now, because these people aren't just individuals. They're like they're figureheads of entire people groups and entire regions, you know, like the land of Canaan. That's just a dude's son that then got that land and called it the land of Canaan.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay. And also the land of Canaan, I mean, has been like Israel, Palestine, like that's been a fought over land for literally ever, like since forever. So, and that's what we're talking about. Like, this is going to be a cursed land, like, which is weird because it's also a blessed land with Jerusalem and whatnot. So it's like a weird, you know, there's conflict there constantly.
Yeah, that's interesting that it's like both a cursed and a blessed land, because it's like, well, you know, it's historically important. It means a lot to the main religions, and so it's fought after.
Right.
Wow, I wouldn't have thought about that. And so, okay, the nations descended from Noah. You want to go over the specifics on this one?
I mean, it's just super name heavy, and we kind of already did, I feel like, in terms of Shem being the father of Jews and Arabs, and then Ham being Northern Africa, Iran, Iraq, and then Japheth being more Europe, Russia. I think they're Iran.
That's basically what they're going through here.
Yeah, but they don't put it in modern day terms of Iran, Iraq. They don't dive into that here. Yeah, obviously, but
yeah, they do the temples, like the Babylonian temples. Kind of interesting, but we don't need to get in that.
No, dive into it.
These like massive temples made out of bricks that the Babylonians erected like for their gods are interesting. It's not even worth bringing. I like the part of the ESV where it integrates the actual historical things that
sure. Yeah.
Not actual,
the real stuff
but
now.
Other parts of history.
Fake garbage. Yeah.
And then we get to the Tower of Babel, which is a ziggurat, or that's how you say that, right?
Ziggurat.
Ziggurat, yeah.
Yeah.
That is is this in Ur?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's in a Babylonian or Sumerian city of Ur.
Yeah.
And it is essentially the people of this city decide...
sorry. Yeah. It's around
the people of this city decide that they're going to build a tower or a ziggurat, which is a temple that reaches up to the heavens. And it's going to bring them notoriety, and it's going to bring them... it's going to show that they can do anything. They can reach the heavens. They can do anything that like a god can do almost.
Right.
And then God says, no, you're not going to do that.
Nice try.
And he spreads them out throughout the land and changes their language so that they can't collectively come together and do the impossible of reaching heaven.
Right. Basically, this is when different languages come into play. So God's just like, blam! And then he puts on who knows how many different languages on these people.
Yeah.
And they're just like, well, I guess that's that. And then they just split and they go different directions.
Okay.
Go their own way.
This is where the Gentile mind goes, that's a dick move. Why can't we, if you make us to be great, why can't we achieve this greatness and build this amazing thing that goes up to heaven and make heaven on earth, and then you just break us all up and change our language?
Well, so I mean, talk about the intention there. The intention wasn't, why don't we build this great thing to glorify God who's blessed us with the capability? It's, why don't we just say how lit we are?
Sure.
Like, why don't we just, like, none of that is to glorify God. And ultimately, if we realize that going after our own glory is going to be bad, to be kept from going after our own glory is ultimately a blessing. So people might look at this and be like, but now they couldn't build the big thing. Okay, what? Who cares? It's a big old tower. Talking about how awesome they are. But if they're not that awesome, and that's actually a lie, it would probably be good to prevent that from happening, right? So, and now we have the beauty of languages.
Yeah, I guess it's just like when you read, the Lord said, behold, they are one people, and they have all one language, and this is only the beginning of what they will do, and nothing they propose to do will now be impossible for them. That sounds nice, Josh.
Okay, so there's an assumption that what they propose to do will be good.
Yeah.
Why is that there?
Why am I making that assumption?
Yeah.
Because it seems like unity and coming together and working together and achieving the impossible is good. It's because all the stuff on earth of us not doing that is death and destruction and is bad.
No, but we've definitely achieved some things that we would think were impossible that are terrible.
Sure.
If someone was like, in this small time span, we're going to kill 6 million Jews.
Because we
could
couldn't
be like, that's
communicate with each
impossible.
other.
And it's like, all things are possible.
Okay.
Okay. There's some really bad capacities that they could do. And understanding that this is a broken people still, right?
Sure.
Do you want to give a broken people unlimited power? It's like, no, you don't want to enable folks who are not good to be non-good to the nth degree. You want to put some capacity, some limit there.
Yeah.
So I think like that's a part of that, and actually is saving from oneself, because I don't think everything would they have done some pretty nasty, like cool stuff for sure, but also I think they would have been pretty bad, as you see even without the unity. There, like when the unity's gone, when everyone's working individually and separately, there's still some nasty stuff going on, and it's not because of the division. I think it's just because of human nature.
Okay.
So I think that would have just been amplified.
Okay. Well, the Tower of Babel does sound sick, but
I also would love to see it. They're like, it's gonna reach heaven. It's like 300 feet tall.
Yeah,
that
is the funny part. Is like the dimensions on these things are not that big.
Right.
Yeah, it's literally 200 feet tall.
Yeah, we're looking at the World Trade Center. It's like, no wonder those got taken down. They're way too big.
Yeah, that was God doing that.
God's like, too tall.
Well, if you ask some people, it was Old Testament.
It was OT. No Jews in the building.
Have you ever looked into that?
No, I haven't.
I haven't either. I just assume, of course, it's ridiculous. And it is. There wouldn't be anybody in the building.
Right.
It's New York City.
Yeah.
But it's just funny, like, you hear things and you go, not true. You never look into it.
Yeah. Funny. It's kind of like you and this.
Yeah, it is like you
for a
and this.
while.
And
in a year and a half, we're doing about no Jews in the building. We're doing a new podcast.
Yeah, we're just doing conspiracy theories.
Call them runners of the world.
Yeah. Okay, so confused the language on earth, and from there the Lord dispersed them over the face of the earth. And then we get into Shem's descendants. It's another list, a lot of years, a lot of names, but it ends with he fathered Abram, who becomes Abraham, and that is very important.
Abram, crucial figure.
For the Abram, very crucial for the Abrahamic religions.
That's true.
And it's also Terah's descendants, and he is the son of Terah.
Yeah, son of Terah.
And then
Lot, who comes in as a grandson of Terah.
Okay, that's Abram's son.
No, Abram's nephew.
Abram's nephew. And then we also get introduced to Sarai, which would become Sarah.
Yes.
And
thank goodness, because Sarai is a retarded
that's a bad name.
Yeah.
And then, Terah dies when he's like 250 years old or whatever.
Pretty young, given the other names we've been working with.
It's starting to go down.
Yeah.
Health.
Everyone's like around the 900s-ish, and now everyone's like, oh no, I only made it to 300.
Yeah, processed food has entered the
exactly.
factory farming. And then
they have a long shelf life, but they're ruining the human shelf life.
Exactly. Give and take.
Yeah.
It's interesting. The call of Abram. So this is then when Abraham talks to the Lord about promised land. Like, you will have this.
Yes, that's when the Lord is like, go out to there, which is nuts. I mean, if you want to dive into this, just on your own, this is like one of the main things that Jordan Peterson is talking about right now. All he talks about is Abram and this call. He's like, Abram being called to adventure.
It's just a magnet for bad white guys to come into the fold.
It's kind of, but he's like, Jordan Peterson, all he's talking about is like the call to adventure.
You have to go into Abraham. You have to be him.
That's a pretty good.
And if you don't, I will start crying.
He does like to
He loves to cry.
I trust that he means it.
I do too. But I also think that fame has not been good to that guy.
I think he's gotten a little riled up.
I think he's gotten a little riled up.
His lectures pre-fame were really good.
This is the most... This is such a type of white guy thing to say.
Yeah, well,
but if you watch those personality lectures, like the 2000, how much that guy loves teaching.
Yeah,
and
passionate
and is funny and is really great. And what he's saying is
he's chill.
Even when you don't agree with it, you're like, this guy really loves this, and he's trying to help people.
Yeah.
And then, you see now and you're like, fuck.
It's like, God, he's weaponized it.
He's really...
Which is funny because he's like moving closer and closer towards Christianity.
Yeah.
But also his anger's going up and his polarization's going up. And I'm like, jeez.
But you see he's operating at a defensive thing instead of like a love thing.
Well, sure, because I think he's defending because a lot of people are attacking him. Of course, so that's why he's defensive. But also, it is just
it sours things.
It does. Yeah, you're right. Anyway,
so watch those personality lectures because they're
so
really
good.
I mean, especially the ones about Jung, who he really loves.
Yeah,
are really cool. The Lion King one is sick.
He still talks about Jung in a lot of things. He's a huge Jung fan, Jungian.
But anyway, so what was the point of that? You have to be Abraham. You have to go out.
You have to go out.
You have to go to the West Coast.
Yeah, the West Coast, California, Los Angeles. I'm Kermit.
It's very easy to become Kermit when you're doing Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
Okay, so the God tells him, hey, you're going to have this land eventually. And I don't know, anything else important about this?
I mean, we're really brushing over it, but this is like, and not to just rip what Peterson's saying, but like, this is, I think, Abram was loaded, had a lot of money, had a lot of land, had a lot of people. He's with his family. And then he did something that is culturally insane, which is just leaving all of that to go to a different land.
I didn't realize that he was all, he was doing well.
He's pretty gassed up, yeah. And then he just left all of that just because the Lord told him to. Like, it's the ultimate faith move is to be like, God's calling you to go out.
Yeah.
He's not telling you to stay in. And I think this is something like maybe as comics that like we feel not this degree of like, adventure maybe, but like being trying to be a comic is let's be honest.
It's so funny watching
trying
people
to be a comic
live edit themselves
at our level. Yeah. Everyone's like, I'm a comedian. I go on stage sometimes.
I'm an open micer.
Yeah. And trying to be a comic is not like this stable thing. Like it is something we feel, I think, compelled to do.
Yeah.
And so there is very much like this pull from within us that I think is similar to maybe a pull that he had, like, I gotta go out there.
Sure.
I think listening to that is always good.
Yeah.
As long as it's not asking you to do or telling you to do terrible things. But following that pull and being sensitive to it and respecting it, I think is really important.
Especially when you don't have to. Like, especially when you're comfortable. Like, you could live your life in a way where you get by and you do what you're told.
Sure.
And maybe that's even fruitful for you. Maybe you even make a bunch of money. You get a bunch of fucking livestock.
Yeah.
You're rolling in wool.
Right.
But even then, if you feel a pull towards a place that would bring you closer to God or your identity,
right,
or like self-actualization, you have to risk letting those things go.
Because that's the problem is we do live in a culture that very much is like, well, what is success? Money. That's it.
Yeah,
that's it. Money, power,
security, and safety.
Security, money, power. That's it. And like, there's a realization. It's like, no, it's not that.
Yeah,
like we need to be living. Because so many people have that and are incredibly upset.
Yeah.
So it's just like, okay, how do we live a life that is fulfilling what we're called to do?
Yeah,
and being first off, thinking that you're even called to do anything is a big difference.
Sure.
So yeah, that's I think Abram is a perfect example of that because he had all of that. He had power, he had money, he had a family.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm going to leave all this.
I'm going to abandon my family.
I think God's calling me to do something. I'm going to leave my family.
The point of this episode is abandon your family.
Wait, was Abram a descendant of Ham?
To become a stand-up comedian.
I did a racial joke. He says it's a descendant of Ham.
I will edit that out.
Black kids. Oh
no.
All right, fine.
Damn it.
No, come on.
No.
This is a comedy podcast.
Okay. Yeah. But no, I like that. That's, it's funny. Like reading this, you have so many years of like diving into this stuff and like interpretation of it, but just reading it again, also the problem of reading it in the mornings, I'm just like, all right, this word, then that word, then this word.
Yeah, it's just getting through it.
And not really thinking about it some of the times. But then you hit me with that. I'm like, oh yeah, that's great. Like he had all this stuff and he was told or pushed or pulled or whatever to go outside of it and seek more. Which is also kind of the story of this.
Not
like
more
multiply.
stuff.
No.
Not more stuff. He's not like, oh, there's more sheep out there.
Yeah.
He was like, no, there's more living. There's more life. There's more God. There's more what I'm called to do out there. And that's a really scary thing because I bet a bunch of people were like, what the hell are you doing?
Right.
And it's like, I feel called to do that, And the people who have that the most, like in the world, are like missionaries,
Yeah.
Like, I have my high school mentor, it's like my youth group leader, has been a missionary in Uganda for the last 10 years. It's just one of those things where it's
10
like
years.
Yeah. And it's just like, Uganda? What the hell? And like our church has a mission there. So like he had already been there when I was out there. But it's just one of these things where it's like most people are like, you're going to Uganda?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Like, why would you do that? And so it's just one of these things where it's like, yeah, I feel called to do that. It just does appear crazy, But in the Christian world, obviously being a missionary is like, yeah, you're doing it. But for the outside world, if you're not a Christian, it's like, why would you do that?
Yeah. Well, it's another one of those things where like, it's great, but I'm not going to do it.
Sure. Yeah, you guys can do that.
Yeah.
There's no shot.
It's like any really good thing is.
Right.
Yeah.
Great for someone else.
It's great for someone else to do.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, those, I mean, do you remember that guy who like went to like some Amazonian tribe and the second to convert them and the second he stepped foot on land, he just got absolutely arrowed to death?
Well, so there's why am I forgetting? There's Jim Elliott is one of the guys who did something like that with the people down in South America. I forget the name of the tribe, Waorani. I think it's the Waorani tribe. Jim Elliott is one of the people. He went to Wheaton. That's why I know that.
Okay.
I went to Wheaton. And then there's another one of a dude that went to this untouched tribe in like the Philippines or whatever. And then he just got destroyed. Just destroyed.
Magellan.
Jim Elliott's wife went to the tribe that killed her husband and they all became Christian. So he got just ruined by this tribe.
Good R word. I saw the other one popping its head out.
He got ruined by this tribe. That's when you hold on to a consonant for long enough to save it.
Yeah.
By this tribe. And then his wife went and ministered to them and they all became Christian.
What?
Yeah. So this is one of these crazy stories where she's like, it's nuts. So anyways,
that's dumb.
There's a whole movie about it. It's called End of the Spear. Anyways.
Okay. Okay, but then the other guy who just went and got speared to death.
He just got cashed.
He just got killed.
Yeah, 100%.
I guess the point is if you're going to proselytize, have a wife to
to follow you up. And they'll be like, hey, this one's hot. How about we listen to this one?
Sure.
We don't eat women, okay?
But I mean, there's also something about like we killed this lady's husband and she's still willing to do. I mean, that's very Jesus-like.
100%. Yeah.
That's compelling.
Right.
It's funny. It's like how much of that family do they kill before like, all right, we got to give them a shot.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
Are you
they
kidding
kill her,
me?
and then the son comes. They kill the son,
right? And
then all of a sudden, it's just a bait. It's like the house dog comes, and they're like, all right, well, listen,
dear Lord, this dog converted.
I mean, but if you kill enough people and they're still coming back with open arms,
right? 100%.
You do have to kind of be like, all right, we'll listen to 10 minutes,
right? Well, listen.
Okay, so really great point. Love that. And then he goes out, and then he goes kind of in the Israel area, but then there's a famine, right? There's like a drought or something, and so they go down to Egypt.
Right.
And then when they're on the border of Egypt, when they're stuck in the border of Egypt,
going through customs
or something, because Sarah forgot her passport.
Yeah.
He tells Sarai, you have to lie about being my wife and say that you're my sister, or else they'll kill me.
Yeah.
And so then they get into Egypt. She's very beautiful. And the Pharaoh goes, "Hey, who's this pretty lady?" And she goes, I'm this guy's sister. Yeah. Wink. And then the Pharaoh goes, "Okay, that seems fine." And then they, as long as you're not his wife,
I'll take you,
or else I'd have to kill you. I'd have to marry you and kill you. But since he's just your brother, I can marry you and not kill him.
Right.
And instead of killing Abram, the Pharaoh gives him a bunch of more stuff, like livestock and I don't know about land, but definitely stuff that you want back then.
Right.
And marries his wife, which that's wild. So Abram is kind of the first cuck.
In a sense. Well, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the first cucks. And I think that's probably very true. That'd suck if he was like, "Come in here, watch me ruin your sister."
Sure.
Just and I think, but that's one of the things that yeah, I mean, he's a pharaoh, right? He doesn't just have one wife.
Right.
He's not like, "Oh yeah, this is my single wife that I'm." It's like, yeah, he's in a harem.
Okay.
You know, she's one of the harem.
But still, this guy, you're in the harem. You're not.
It's discouraging.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're Abram, you're like, oh, damn it. Also, what's crazy though is it's like I would rather this guy. I'm of the personality that I'm like, yo, kill me. Okay.
Sure.
Do not have sex with my wife.
That's easy to say now, but you've never been to Egypt before.
Good point. Yeah, it's true. And he's just like, I don't know. Like he's got no honor. He's like, get rid of this. Yeah, go ahead. You can just don't kill me.
Yeah.
And Sarai is probably like,
what the fuck?
Hell? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
This sucks. You're just giving me to this dude?
Yeah.
For me to have sex with it? Like that sucks.
Uh-huh.
So she probably feels a little betrayed by that.
Of course.
And
then he gets a bunch of stuff out of it. So he kind of pimps. He's the first cuck. He's the first pimp.
First cuck pimp.
Pimp.
Yeah, and Sarai's his bottom.
And Sarah's his bottom bitch.
Yeah.
And then eventually somehow the Pharaoh is like, I guess he smells
Abraham's dick on her or something.
Dick on her.
This is Jew dick.
This is Jew dick.
This is circumcised dick.
And it smells clean.
Yeah.
And
you're cleaner than all the
your
other.
Pussy's clean. Have you been fucking a Jew? And she's like, "Yeah, my brother." He's like,
"Whoa, you guys are crazy." You heard about his grandparents. They had sex with his dad.
Yeah, you got to hear about
Noah,
who your grandfather did. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
because he's a son of Ham.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And then the Pharaoh, instead of being mad about that, it's like, "You rascals! All right, keep your stuff, but get out of Egypt."
Well, they said there were plagues going to Egypt.
Oh,
there were plagues going to, like they were being plagued, and so they probably at the time were like, "Why the hell is this happening?"
God was plaguing them.
Yeah, because it's like, "Yo, this ain't good." So God was like, "Cut that out."
Who is the plague detective? Like, who figures out, like, hey, this is what we were doing, it was going well, and then these two, Sarai and Abraham, come in.
Well, they probably line it up with, like, let's see, when did this start?
Yeah, what changed?
Okay, these are the new people. Where are you from? Where are you from? How new is this? And they probably were just like, I think it's this guy. I think it's this dude.
So much guessing.
Yeah. Probably it's like this guy. I think it's this guy and his wife. Yeah. And then he's probably like, "What's going on here? Give me the truth."
Well, they do what everybody's done throughout history. They're like, "It's the Jews."
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. They were right. They were right. Yeah, because there was some dishonesty there.
There was
being like, "Actually, she's my wife."
And anyway, so they get kicked out, and so then they go back to the land of Canaan.
Yeah, Canaan.
Do I keep saying it wrong on purpose?
I don't know if you're doing it on purpose, but
is it pissing you off?
No.
Because my mom cannot, for 10 years, has been unable to say kombucha. She always says kombucha.
That's hilarious.
And I want to kick her in the head.
Kombucha.
And it pisses me off every time. And I know she's not doing it on purpose.
Dude, my dad says COVID. He doesn't say COVID. He says, "Oh, I got COVID." He said, "I got COVID." He does. He's like, "Oh yeah, so with COVID," and I'm like,
"You're doing that on purpose."
It's COVID. It's COVID.
It's so clearly an I.
VID. COVID. He goes, "Yeah, well, COVID."
Yeah.
I'm like, also the emphasis is wrong. It's like COVID.
Yeah.
COVID, and he goes, "COVID." I'm like, I can't handle this.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Canaan.
Nailed it.
Canaan.
Yeah.
So they go back to Canaan, and then they are Abram. Still Abram is separated from Lot.
Yes.
What's that mean?
Well, so they had different lands, and so Lot went to go stay somewhere else. And I think this is also where the east-west thing comes up again too, because Lot, I believe, goes east.
These are the OG Biggie Smalls versus Tupac.
Let there not be strife, because Abram and Lot were like duking it out for some land. So he goes, let there not be strife between you and me, and between your herdsman and my herdsman. Is not the whole land before us pretty good? So he just said to separate them, and then
Lot takes the Jordan Valley, which is
the
lush.
Jordan Valley was well watered everywhere, like the garden of the Lord. He's like, oh, this is like the perfect.
Yeah,
this is insanely nice.
Sure.
And he's like, I'm just gonna take that one. I guess I'm gonna go with that one.
They kind of did the like I cut you pick, but
Lot
cut and pick.
Cut and pick. Yeah. Exactly. So Abram settled in the land of Canaan, which he was promised. Settled among the cities of the valley. Moved his tent as far as Sodom. So that's like the intro to Sodom and Gomorrah.
Right. Cities of sin, right?
Yes. Now the men of Sodom were wicked, great sinners against the Lord. Is this? And I think you can see it on the map here. Lot went as a map in here.
Yeah.
What does it write it out?
Well, this is when they fight. This whole map with the arrows. So this is for the next one when Abram rescues Lot.
Right. I'm just trying to think of where he went. I believe Lot went more east, which again was the not right direction to go because you want to go west.
You want to go west. You want to go towards the Native American land.
Right. You want to go towards that direction, and then take it.
And then you want to make it Nebraska.
By force. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Like the Native American cigarette brands,
Spirits.
American Spirits.
Yeah.
Have you ever had the black ones? They're like the strongest ones.
Oh, really?
Those are their smallpox blanket. That's their answer to the smallpox blanket.
Oh, really? Take this.
Yeah, dude. You rip one of those, you're dead.
That's hilarious.
Okay, so anything in here about that you want to talk about I guess it's another thing where you sacrifice what you want, you let them choose. You give the good part of things to someone else, and then you get something back from that.
Right.
Because so Abram gives Lot the ability to choose the better land, and
or the worst land. He could have chosen either.
He could have chosen either.
And Lot was just like, yeah, I'm going to get the big piece. Then.
He gets the big, nice piece.
Yeah.
But then as a result of that, he gets captured. And Abram stays safe. Right. So there's a lot of like from the little other passages that I've read, like you reap what you sow, you get what you give what you get what you give. Themes in there. This is kind of an example of that, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, you could say it's like a form of gluttony too. It's like, Lot wanted what was good to the eyes, right?
Sure.
And not the land of Canaan, which was promised them, right? So maybe you could even make an argument and say, yeah, maybe you should just both stay in Canaan and just kind of
figure it out.
This whole version of manifest destiny, maybe just stick with what you got.
Maybe stay in Europe.
Yeah, maybe stay there. Maybe just be like, hey, this is our land. This is what we got.
Look at us, getting to the anti-imperial part of the...
Yeah, which was weird, awkward for me. I'm pro-imperial, so this is very uncomfortable.
But look at you, changing and growing and learning.
And so it's just, it's just one of those situations where it's like, well, Lot went out. He was selfish, and got what was coming to him.
Okay, and then we get to 14. This is perfect timing. This is where I stopped. And the only note I have about this, which is, let's go over it first. It's Abram rescues Lot.
Right. So
basically, there's a bunch of kings kind of ruling this general area of the Mideast, and they're all ruled by one guy. His name's like Chormander or something. What is it? It's Cheddar Laomer.
Right. He grows into a Charizard later.
Yeah, after he reaches his full form. But basically, there's like a bunch of kings who are on his side, there are a bunch of kings underneath him, and then they split. And like, there's a couple against and a couple pro. And the ones that are pro steal Lot, Abram's brother, and like kind of ransack his land and take his stuff. And then Abram is with the other side, who's against this Chorlamander guy, and he goes to rescue his brother back from the bad guys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, anything significant about? I mean, all I wrote from this was like, what? I just didn't understand. Like, okay, I didn't get anything out of this.
Well, it's one of these things where it's like Lot separates from his. Kind of just a repeat of what we just said, where it's like Lot separates from his family, separates from his crew, and is like, I'm going to go off into this land or whatever. And it's like, well, okay, well now you're in danger, right? Because the Lord's blessed Abram, right? So you kind of want to stick with him. You kind of want to stay where the land that you've been blessed. And he goes outside of that and is punished. You know,
Sure.
It's like one of these things where it's like, stick within the Lord's plan for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, and what the Lord's revealed will is, and when I say revealed will, I mean like the scripture, what it said how we should live our lives. Stick within that, and you will.
But did they have?
be
They
made
didn't
safe.
have that back then.
Well, they had the Lord talking to Abram.
Sure, direct.
And Abram's like, yeah,
Direct
I'm supposed to go to
line.
Canaan.
Yeah,
And Lot's like, cool.
I'm gonna go
over
to the
there.
Jordan Valley. It looks
Yeah,
nicer.
Exactly. And so it's, it looks nicer is a really big thing. It's like, oh, but that looks so nice.
Sure.
It's like, yeah, we get that it looks nice. It's not going to be good for you.
Yeah.
And that's a very relatable situation.
Of
you know?
course.
Yeah. So it's like that's what a lot of life
when
is.
when I'm trying to cheat on my wife.
100%.
100%.
I totally get that.
Yeah.
Love cheating on your wife.
We are very lonely men. So then Abraham, and I guess, is there anything specifically about the actual rescue? It's not like, that's one thing about this. It's not, there's stuff where you're like, there's probably going to be some interesting stuff in there. Breeze through it. Rescuing his brother from evil
It's his
kings.
Nephew.
What gives a shit? Rescuing his nephew from evil kings. Any cool fight scenes? Any Lord of the Rings type stuff? No.
Dude, Helm's Deep was actually just like a sentence long in The Two Towers. Very short battle. They make it out to be this huge thing in the movie. Point being, some battle scenes are just really like, they fought.
All right. Well, I wish you wouldn't have said that and made me look silly. But
Yeah, sorry.
and then, is this any important? Abram, blessed by by some Polish guy, Melchizedek.
Melchizedek.
Melchizedek. There's something very important about his name, right?
Very
Yeah.
good pickup.
What is it?
So Melchizedek is a priest and king. So he is not just king and not just priest. He's priest and king, which is why they
priest,
say
the king.
Jesus is after the order of Melchizedek, because he is both priest and king. He's not just a prophet. He's not just a ruler. He is both.
Okay.
Right? Because he's God. So Melchizedek is seen as this is what they call a theophany. So theophany is a picture of Jesus in the Old Testament.
Sure.
So some people think Melchizedek is a theophany, is Jesus.
Sure.
Some people think that, again, like this idea of like he walked with the Lord, right? That's a theophany back in the Garden of Eden. So
Right.
some people think Melchizedek is Jesus.
Okay.
And so that's why Abram tithes him a tenth of what he had, of what he got. He gives a tenth to Melchizedek as like what he's owed. Like he is subservient to Melchizedek.
Sure.
He was priest and king. And then Melchizedek blesses him.
Sure. And he says, "Blessed be Abram by God Most High, the Most High, possessor of heaven and earth, and blessed be God Most High, who has delivered your enemies into your hand," in reference to conquering the bad king. And then Abram gave him a tenth of everything, and the king of Sodom said to Abram, "Give me the persons, but take the goods for yourself." But Abram said to the king of Sodom, "I have lifted my hand to the Lord God Most High, possessor of heaven and earth, that I would not take a thread or a sandal strap or anything that is yours, lest you should say, I have made Abram rich." What is okay? That one feels a little dense. He's like, he offers him this. He says, "Give me your people, but keep your stuff." And then he's like, "No, you have everything, unless you want to make me rich."
You have everything?
He said, Abram is like, "No, I don't. I'm not taking any. You take it all. The only way I would take anything is if you should say, I have made Abram rich."
Wait, I don't think he said it that way. He says, where is it? I would not take a thread or anything that is yours unless you should say, like, lest you say means like because you would say, like, I would not take a thread or sandal.
I was reading it as unless, but you're saying it's, I wouldn't take anything that you're giving me if the purpose of it is to make me rich.
Exactly, because then you would say, I made him rich.
Yeah.
So he's like, no, you don't get credit for making me rich. He's like, here, take all this money. And then if he's successful, he's like, that was me. I did that. I gave him the loan or whatever. I'm the angel investor, whatever. And then Abram's like, no, I'm made rich by God. Right. I'm not gonna take your possessions so that you can say you made me rich.
Interesting, but this Melchizedek is a theophany, possibly.
But that's not Melchizedek that said that. It was the king of Sodom who said that.
Oh, okay. I for some reason thought Melchizedek was the king of Sodom because of...
No, that's what's kind of interesting is Melchizedek kind of pops up out of nowhere. Everyone's like, who the hell is this guy?
That's why I read it as that.
That's why they think he's a theophany. Okay. He just kind of pops up out of nowhere.
I love that word. I love any new word that I can say and people are going to be like, oh, wow.
Theophany is definitely one of those for sure.
That's a good name.
And then there's theonomy. Theonomy is the idea that we need to go back to living in like Old Testament law types as Christians.
Oh, I don't like that one as much.
It's terrible. It's the worst.
No iPhone?
No iPhone. Also stoning adulterers.
Sorry, I don't want to focus, but no iPhone?
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, we'll focus on that part.
We'll
no
that
iPhone.
Later, but not a one iPhone.
Not a single iPhone. Yeah, it would suck.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I like the theophany idea that there's like Easter egg Jesuses that pop in.
100%. I mean, that's kind of what's interesting is why, and it's good. I think that you're reading other stuff like in the New Testament as well, because this whole book is about Jesus. It's about Jesus is the linchpin of the entire thing in terms of like prophesying Jesus, and you see Jesus like foreshadowings and perhaps even Jesus himself within this, because it's about how he comes and saves us from sin. Okay. And so it's like, yeah, Melchizedek blesses Abram, Jesus, blesses Abram, and it's great. And the whole tithing thing, a tenth, that's like where tithes and offerings come from now.
Yeah, that's okay.
Giving a tenth of what you earn.
That's that kind of the rule, is a tenth of what you earn you give to.
Yeah, rule is a weird way to put it, but like, yeah, I think it's like, I gotta follow this rule.
Okay, people model themselves
Yeah.
after that, where they're like, I'm going to give a tenth of whatever I earn back to Jesus, back to the church or charity or whatever. Sure.
So that was like with me recently. I should have been tithing for a lot longer, but I recently started tithing because I was just realizing I don't really trust God in like anything, because everything is pretty much in my control, right? And so I'm like, and especially with finances, because I like get nervous about that, right? Yeah. So now in the past couple months, 3 months maybe, I've started tithing. And so I'm giving a tenth every 2 weeks or whatever. And I am in the red. I am in the red every 2 weeks because of this. Now, if I wasn't doing that, I'd be making it just not a lot of money, a tiny amount of money. I'd be going up. But now I'm in the red. And it's this idea of having faith that God will provide for me, because now I'm actively trusting the Lord. Before I was like, no, I trust you, but I wasn't giving anything to him, right? Okay. But now that I'm in the red, I'm actively leaning on the Lord to surprise. The first week I tithed, I did comedy lottery and I won, and I got the exact amount that I tithed plus a little bit more back. And so it's like, well, okay. And then a week after that, or 2 weeks after that, my mom came, and a friend with a friend of hers. Yeah, finally. And so
it's been a hard nut to crack.
Yeah, exactly. My mom visited with a friend of hers, and they both were just nice and like gave me a little bit of my exact amount that I tithe. So it's like one of these reasons where it's like, oh, look, that's the Lord is providing for me through these crazy like left turn way, where before I never would have seen it that way, but now I'm like seeing how the Lord provides for me in ways that I haven't before, because I'm giving him what is due.
Homeless people must have a lot of faith in the Lord.
That's true. They give a lot to church. They give a lot every week.
They're really putting their life in God's hands.
Yeah, they're giving to the church. That's why they're so poor. Because they have a lot, but they just give it back to the church.
That is so admirable. Okay, well, we did it. We did another episode of the Godcast,
Godcast.
I think next time we're going to get into, let's give them a little preview of next time. How about that?
Yeah, sure.
We're going to start with God's covenant with Abram.
Chapter 15 in Genesis.
Chapter 15 in Genesis.
That's right.
And then who knows how far we'll get. But
let's just say a little bit of a name change, a little bit of a transition here.
Oh, a little name change, a little new identity. And there's just going to be so much wacky fun stuff coming along. So.
Yeah, sorry this isn't funny.
We're
we're two comedians in New York, and then we're like, so death and God. And this is pretty. That's the thing. It's like, this isn't. I was talking to Grant in between the last episode, and it's like, yeah, a lot of this isn't really funny. A lot of this is just stuff, but it's fun to dive into it and try and make jokes where you can. But
sure. And if you don't like it, just stop listening.
That's what's so freeing is it's like we're not trapping.
Yeah,
they could just go anywhere.
Yeah,
just be like, not for me.
I mean, odds are you never started. So
that is a good. I mean, this is the third episode. None of them have been released at this point. So we're just like to our thousands of listeners in the 3 episodes.
Well, I've
heard
it's
gonna catch fire.
God will provide.
That's true.
But okay, we're working our way through Genesis, and we hope you've enjoyed this installment of.
Call him Father, the Lord.
The Lord.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. That's us. Goodbye.